This video is about understanding the difference between knowing and making a move on something, between knowing, understanding, and real change. The role of therapy is a very important one. Understanding the origin of our trauma, of the behaviors that we have, is a huge, important first step. It helps us realize that it's not just some flaw we have. It's not somewhere that we've gone wrong. It helps put a reason to the outcome. It helps us understand that these things developed for a reason, happened for a reason. If we can trace it back from now to the origin story, it gives us a little bit of space to understand that there is a solid background for this. It didn't come from nowhere. It makes a lot of sense. If this is a step you haven't yet completed, or if, as I say this, you immediately start to get a physical reaction, like, I don't really want to do that part, that is totally understandable. I encourage you still to move forward with these next parts of the videos. I encourage you to still listen to what we have to offer, because this is one of the ways in which you can start to gently access some of that knowledge. You don't have to necessarily go into all of the details and know every reason behind what you experience now. You can come along with us to learn some of that.
And sometimes it might be trauma that hasn't happened in our lifetime. It can be something called ancestral trauma. And this is a frequency coding that is coded into your DNA field from previous ancestors. Still understanding what the root of patterns or understanding patterns helps us to start to change those inherited frequency codes and create new beneficial patterns for ourselves.
Understanding our own trauma, understanding where certain traits, habits, beliefs come from is imperative for healing. It's important to know this is why I am the way I am. Didn't come from nowhere. This removes shame from the equation. And shame can be such a heavy weight to hold. It can derail so much progress. So making this distinction between, is it me that's the issue, or does it make a lot of sense? Making that distinction is massive so that we can move forward with healing. All of this, the knowledge, the understanding, is only one side of the coin. Very important to have the knowledge, but there is a whole other aspect when it comes to our healing.
Trauma is stored in the body, not just the mind. Like energetic radio stations that have zoomed in on one specific radio station and it's playing that frequency all the time. Through this work of understanding what's happening with the nervous system and the brain and the science behind it, actually coming into the body and training the body to start tuning into a different radio station, to start vibrating at a different frequency. It takes time. It'll keep bouncing back to the old one until eventually you've spent enough time in the new one that your nervous system is more comfortable and finds familiarity because of the cultivation and the time taken to spend on the new radio station or to be in a new frequency. Even though we can know the root of our trauma, we can know our patterns, but this isn't enough for the nervous system to change those patterns. It needs an embodiment level. It needs time to metabolize new information. It needs time to integrate, to practice and cultivate within a new way of being. This is how we train our nervous system, open up parts of ourselves that are too afraid to show up in certain ways to start to slowly start to feel more comfortable, give us more access to the ways of being that allows us to feel supported and in our own authenticity, ability to show up, say our needs, show up in our fullness and feel safe. Why do patterns cause us to respond in triggered ways. This is because they've become a habit in our beings, in our energy, our emotional, our physical bodies. And it takes time to create new habits. And sometimes we have to show up for those habits for a really firm amount of time because we have to break through that barrier of the brain trying to keep us safe and not wanting to go somewhere new.
One of the best ways to start shifting our current experience, the way that we respond and the way that we operate, is through reconditioning. We've been heavily conditioned in one way based on what we've experienced, based on our trauma, and based on our stress. Being intentional about where we're headed, where we want to go with our reactions, is the first step. When it comes to a sense of safety, this is a huge player in trauma recovery. If we don't feel safe, then it's very, very hard to move ourselves along that healing journey. This feeling of safety, I use the word feeling on purpose because this isn't just a logical thing. This isn't just understanding that, hey, I am safe. I know I'm safe. Logically speaking, I can understand that. That's not enough for the body. Because it's so deeply encoded in our nervous system, it is literally something that we need to feel. So to make that happen, we have to come back to ourselves in our own body and slowly start to trust being in our own body. That is one of the most pivotal pieces when it comes to healing trauma.
When we start to remember or feel like we can reclaim this vessel as a temple for our spirit, create this space and environment that honors this temple and vessel and the boundaries or whatever you need to remember that this vessel is not a prison, it's not something to be utilized in harmful way by others, but that it is actually the home for your spirit to experience this earthly realm. Then the more that that starts to come into place and that care and nurturance happens, the spirit can land in the body and feel safe to be here. This is where consistent tending, community, self care all nourishes this possibility. The beautiful thing about the group program that we offer is the community that holds space for us to start to feel this safety in our body, to be witnessed in that transformation and safety by others who understand the depths of what you've had to face that might not be what is often seen in the wider population. So community becomes a safe place to start nourishing and transforming and trusting your own presence and your own heart to be available to these unfoldings that will be happening within yourself.
A group like this is a sacred, safe container for us to heal. We are group mammals. We are meant to be in community. We are meant to be connected. We are not supposed to be doing the hard things alone. And unfortunately, the way things are right now in the world, we're so often disconnected. Community is much harder to find for the average person. One of the things that we to nurture through this group is the sense of safe community. Community that accepts you for who you are, as you are, no matter where you are in your healing journey. We ensure that this space, Ash to Altar, is a sacred space for women to gather, to connect, to find an empathetic witness to their experiences, and to love and nurture each other as they walk on their journey to healing.
Together, We're providing a holistic way for you to grow and transform so that you are not stuck believing you are your trauma, but that your own original essence can begin to shine forth.
Mm.